Hello, I'm Cheryl Hawkins. Welcome to Solutions, the series that highlights the incredible work that nonprofits do every day to help solve problems in our communities. On this edition of Solutions, we are highlighting Veterans of Foreign Wars, or VFW Post 2562, a service organization located in the Wheaton, Silver Spring area of Montgomery County, Maryland. VF Post 2562 is a local chapter of the national organization that's been around for over 100 years. Their mission is to preserve and strengthen comradeship among its members, to assist worthy comrades, to perpetuate the memory and history of the dead, to assist widows and orphans, to maintain true allegiance to the government of the United States of America and fidelity to its Constitution and laws, to foster true patriotism, to maintain and extend the institutions of American freedom, and to preserve and defend the United States from all of her enemies. I am so honored to have in studio with me the commander of VFW Post 2562, Mr. Richard Fenati. Richard, welcome to Solutions.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Now, you walked into the VFW Post 2562 a little while ago, and they told you, we're about to shut our doors for good. I'm sorry, but you said, no, don't do that. And you took over the helm and have brought life back to the Post. Tell me how long you've been there and why.
Okay.
Why did you decide to take on this helm?
I mean, I'm a veteran of Afghanistan, and so, I mean, it's a natural fit. It's a good organization to support. And so I had been what they call an at-large member. I wasn't affiliated with any post, just you know, part of the national membership, right? Because the national membership does they lobby the government on our behalf as veterans, right? And it's invaluable to us, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a voice up there. But I figured it was time to find the local post and affiliate and maybe get involved locally. And like you said, when I walked in the door, these guys were on they said, we're closing. I said, well, what time do you open tomorrow? They said, no, we're closing. And so, yeah, I decided to give it a go. And I can't let a place like that close, right? It was a lot more of a mess to clean up than I really understood at first. And maybe I wouldn't have done it. I would have. But we used to have 13 in Montgomery County, 13 VFW posts, and now there's only 3 left. And if this one had closed, there would only be 2 left in Montgomery County.
Wow. And so when did your post, when was it formed? When did it start?
So I went back and looked this up. We were formed in 1945 on a farm right off of Georgia Avenue. Mm-hmm. It was at someone's farmhouse for 2 years, and then in 1947 they built the post where it is now. Mm-hmm. Years later they built the hall that was attached to the back. For a long time that was a parking lot. And you know, in our post, we have all the commanders since 1945 on the wall, and you know, you look at those guys, and you can't let them down, even though I don't know any of them, right? Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, it's important to keep these things going.
Yeah, and so sounds like the stars just aligned. It's fate that you were supposed to go, or to be there on that day to make this happen. So VFW is a membership organization. Who can be a member, and how many members are in your post?
Okay, so to be a member, you have to be a veteran, first of all, and then you have to have fought in a campaign. And so there's a list of campaign medals that qualify you for membership. Mm-hmm. And that's, every VFW post really has 2 organizations as part of it. There is the VFW membership like I just explained, and then there's the VFW auxiliary. Mm-hmm. And to be a member of the auxiliary, you have to have kind of a nexus to a veteran that fought in a war. So if your father or your brother or your son, right, fought, then you can be a member of the auxiliary. And really in the United States, for most of us that were born here, that's pretty much all of our grandparents, right? So it's really open to almost everybody in the United States. Right. And then as far as the number of members, I think on paper we have about 320 as the post membership. I'm not quite sure of the total number in the auxiliary. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, it's a separate organization, but it's really hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And one of the issues is a lot of it was a post that closed down in Gaithersburg. All those people became affiliated with ours. I only have about 100 email addresses out of that 320 and maybe 30 additional phone numbers. So a lot of the people, unless I'm sending out actual snail mail, I have no way to get in touch with. Mm-hmm. Or if I go door to door, right, which eventually I'm going to plan on doing, but that's a long path.
Down the road, right?
Yep.
So is there a cost to be a member?
There is. It's not much. It's like $35 a year if you want to do it. that way. Or you can do a lifetime membership, and then you're just one time and done. And that's kind of what I did at the time I did it. It's based on your age, right? You know basically how much life you have left. And it gets cheaper as you get older. And that's between the $300 and $500 range for a lifetime membership. And it's just you don't have to deal with signing up every year or forgetting to renew, et cetera. And to me, it was just a great organization. It's a place where I'd like my money to support, so I just went ahead and did the life membership myself.
Nice. So the VFW and its auxiliaries contribute more than 8.6 million hours of volunteerism in communities across the country. What kinds of volunteering efforts does your post get involved with?
One of the things I'm really proud of, we used to do this, I looked it up in our records a long time ago in the past, and we're just starting to do it again this Sunday. We're hosting recovering soldiers, airmen, Marines, and sailors from Walter Reed, which is right down the street, bringing them, just giving them brunch, right?
Nice.
No cost to them, please come out. We want to support you. We want to, you're going through a rough time right now, anything we can do to help. And then that's going to be open to the public as well. So anybody who wants to come out and be part of that camaraderie or be part of that, our little part of history right there. We're just asking $8 to kind of make it self-sustaining. We'd like to make this a periodic thing, probably be quarterly at first until I can gather more active members in the post and then hopefully make it monthly.
Great.
So that's one. I mean, we do a bunch of things. We host a blood drive for the American Red Cross. We have a bring your own game device gaming day for kids, and we give them free pizza. Right, as a way to, you can sit in your basement and do this, or you can come out and be part of a community.
Now, how does that work? Because gaming, you're on your computer, you're on your phone, it's such a thing in a silo. But you bring them together. Do they play and talk and share what they're doing with each other?
It can be. We've done it 3 times now, and it's been pretty interesting, right? Because our kids were some of the kids that came. And at first, they were all sitting in different tables around the room. Within an hour, they were all at the same table. A lot of them playing the same game, but if not, looking over each other's shoulders and playing different games. By the 3rd hour, because it was a 4-hour-long thing, by the 3rd hour, they were playing pool and foosball.
I love it. They put the phones down.
They got themselves off the video games, right? And then in the 4th hour, they were playing charades. So they were just kind of making stuff up, and it was great to see.
That's awesome. Right? Yeah.
And so with that, we've reached out to GameStop and Bethesda Gaming in the area, which is a big video game, and see if they'd like to participate in that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we're just offering free pizza, but maybe with some sponsorship, we can provide a little bit more.
Yeah, that's great. I could even see some kind of way having a little competition that they can be involved in.
I would love to grow it to the place where we're actually doing a gaming competition, right? Because I know that's a big popular thing among kids. I don't know much about gaming myself, so I can't tell you which one is the popular one. But
my grandson, when he was younger, was really into gaming, and my husband wanted him to play some kind of sports, and he wasn't into sports, he was into gaming. And he told him, well, this is a sport, and we were like, right, it's not a sport, but there are leagues for gaming and stuff now, so it's really grown. Esports
has grown, all of the services now have their own esports league.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this would be not necessarily as a feeder to that, but just, to take advantage of that movement across the country and get the kids together. Again, community in our home. Get all of us together to get to know each other more.
That's awesome. So VFWs have been around a long time. Your post, 45 years. And for some people, there's a stigma about them because they don't really know what they are. They just think it's a bar where vets go and have drinks. But they're more than that. I hear what you're just saying. It's a place where community can come together. How do you see it?
Yeah, well, and it ties us to our history, right, as well. The VFW right now is celebrating their 125th anniversary.
Wow.
The first one, I believe, Post 1 is in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
I think it's fantastic that we're filming today on June 6th, right? The anniversary of D-Day, the 80th anniversary of D-Day, and we're in an old Maryland National Guard armory, right? All that kind of hits home for me, and I didn't want to tear up, but it's great that people need to know our history. I think a lot of people in town just know this is what the building's used for now, not what its history was. So I might have passed the question up. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I was just wondering. You're telling me how you feel about the Post, because others, don't know what it's about, and they kind of think it's just.
Yeah, and the public is welcome to come in. It is a private club,
okay.
But come in as a guest, right? Like, we welcome everybody to come in. A lot of times in the past, and a lot of the ones I've been to around the country, you walk in and nobody talks to you, right? And I want to make sure whoever's behind the bar, the first person you probably see, welcomes you, makes you feel at home, and I'm trying to get our people that are there to reach out and talk to other people. If you see somebody that you don't know, it's just a friend you haven't met yet, right?
Say hello.
Come on in.
Yes. So understand that there are 3 major goals you have for your post: community services, veteran entrepreneurship, and recruiting. Let's spend a little bit on each one of those. Let's start with community service. What are your goals for that? So,
the country sent us away to a bad place to do bad things, right? And now we're back in our good place, and we want to make it better. So, overall, that's kind of the theme, right, with community service. And hand in hand with, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel with anything, other community service things that are going on, we'll provide labor for. Right now, our active membership is very low. A lot of our membership is, Vietnam or Vietnam, Korea, a couple World War II guys, but, they can't do much anymore, right? So, and they shouldn't have to. They should be at the point of their life where they're sitting back and relaxing and, enjoying all the stuff that they work for the life. So I need to get the younger, what we call the Sand War guys, the Iraq and Afghanistan veterans in there, and then as we do that, we can provide more manpower for the community service stuff. But like I said, we got the blood drives and
So tell me about veteran entrepreneurship. What are you doing there?
So that is one of my, entrepreneurship is the thing that built this country. Right, and so a lot of vets come out and are looking for a job, and they can, in this area, luckily the federal government has employment preferences for people that were service members, but a lot of people, that's not the route they want to take, right? They really want to go into business for themselves, and so there's a strong push in the veteran community to provide resources for people that want to go out on their own and start their own business, right? Whatever that is. One of the organizations, like I said, I don't want to reinvent the wheel, so I've teamed up with other organizations. Right now I'm an ambassador for Bunker Labs, which was just acquired by Syracuse University's, I'm going to brutalize that. That's the IVMF, the Institute for Veterans and Military Families. And so what they do is they provide resources and training for veteran entrepreneurs that are trying to start businesses and try to help them grow those businesses.
Fantastic. And recruiting, what are you doing to recruit?
Yeah, so that's everything I'm doing right now is an eye towards recruiting. Like when we invite the kids in from the community, I'm hoping some members, some of the parents that drop the kids off might be veterans, and then I can talk to them about, hey, come into the Post. These are the things we want to do for the community, right? And I think to get the younger veterans in, a lot of them right now are going to travel soccer and climbing the corporate ladder, right? They don't have time to just sit around a bar, and that's not what I want that organization to be. But if you give them a mission, a lot of us we're mission focused in the military, and if you give them a mission, they'll come, right? So everything has an eye towards recruiting. Even this brunch we're doing on Sunday, hopefully later on, maybe one of them decide to become a member, right? And give back in turn, and then it keeps the cycle going.
Yeah.
But one of the things we do on Tuesday nights, we're doing a 5K pub run, and that's physical fitness is one of the tenets of the military. And so, it's about finding your tribe when you get outside, right? So not everybody wants, some of the guys just want to sit around the bar, and that's okay, right? But some of the guys, that's not what they want to do. But hey, man, they'll come out for a 5K and then maybe have one beer and share some stories afterwards, and then, move on. So it's something they can, we're trying to find that thing for each type of veteran that wants to come back, and they can, be involved in how it fits them.
Awesome. We're going to take a short break because I want to learn a little bit more about you. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll learn a little bit more about the commander of VFW Post 2562. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
So as a technical sergeant, E6.
I served in Vietnam in 1969.
I am an U.S. Army veteran.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes.
Try to always be there for each other.
I do my best reaching out to my brothers and sisters in arms.
Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right?
I can't say that I have. I mean,
If you don't have someone to kind of help you guide those thoughts, it can be really bad.
eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
I guess it's a part of the military too, right? Service before self.
It was drilled in, service before self.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me, When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
The VFW exists to ensure that our heroes receive the benefits that they're entitled to. Help that meets the everyday needs of soldiers and their families. When our troops are separated from their loved ones, we help connect them. When homes are in danger of foreclosure, we're there to assist. And the medical care of America's finest is always on our minds. Our programs remind the millions of troops, veterans, and family members that America is grateful for their service.
Welcome back. I'm Cheryl Hawkins. You're watching Solutions, the series that highlights the great work that nonprofits do in our communities. On this episode, my guest is Richard Fenati, Commander, VFW Post 2562, a service organization in Montgomery County, Maryland, that not only serves veterans, but the community as well. So you have such an awesome background, I think, and I'd like to talk with you a little bit about it in this segment. Besides being commander of VFW Post 2562, you are a commercial airline pilot for Delta Airlines, and you grew up right here in Montgomery County. First, where did you grow up and go to school and all of that? But when did you become interested in flying?
Okay, so I grew up in Damascus, Maryland. My dad was an Air Force officer, and he was out before I was born, but he loved flying, and so I kind of grew up at the Gaithersburg Airport. And I joke that the Congressional Flying Club, I joke that I've been a member since 1973, because I've been out there since I was born.
Wow.
And so there was kind of always something I like to do, right? And when my parents used to have a Christmas party, and one of my dad's friends at the time said, "Oh, your dad's a pilot, that's really cool." And I was like 9, and I looked up and I said, so go do it. Right? Like, I didn't understand why people didn't, right? And so I promised myself kind of in that moment I wouldn't be one of those I always wanted to guys, right? I ended up going to Gonzaga for high school, which phenomenal place. The motto is meant for others, and that's kind of molded me into the way I kind of look at life. And while I was there, I was in Civil Air Patrol. My dad kind of got me involved in that instead of Boy Scouts, and I got a scholarship to the National Flight Academy, which was 15 hours of flying, and with the goal on soloing, but not necessarily.
How old were you then?
17.
Wow.
Yeah, 17.
Wow.
So, at the beginning of the week, I'd flown in planes, but I'd never flown myself. And by the end of the week, the guy was tossing me the keys, saying, "Go ahead and take it up around the pattern by yourself." And that was pretty cool. And I had to make a choice between that and going to my senior prom. And DC's a go-go area. And EU played our senior prom that year, and that was a big deal back then.
Yes.
And so missing that, I still hear stories from all the guys in the class. But the flying has really been a part of my life ever since then. And so when I finished up, I went to college at Penn State, became an engineer, and then ended up in Atlanta after college, and got my private. Just finished up my private. Didn't think I'd do anything else with it, but I just met a lot of people that graduated from the SEC, and they said, "Hey, I understand you have access to a plane." I said, "Yeah." They said, "Well, Bama's playing Florida this weekend. You think we can go to the game?"
Wow.
And as long as we split the costs, absolutely. So,
wow.
The SEC really helped me build hours early on.
Okay.
I had to pay my share of it, but it was, and then I got friends into flying because of that, and really sparked the interest in aviation. And honestly, aviation early on is why I became an engineer, right? All the STEM principles applied to aviation, and it's a really fun way to learn them. And so, that was kind of it. And then just kind of kept getting ratings because I just enjoyed flying. I ended up owning a portion of a plane for a while when I moved back to the DC area for about 10 years. And so when this whole, quote unquote pilot shortage came up, I had all the stuff. And so
you're just always in line with the stars, right?
Well, they say, preparation is what paves the way, right? So,
absolutely. So what kind of planes were you flying, taking people back and forth to college games?
Yeah, back then it was just small Cessnas and Pipers.
Okay.
Right? Just, if it's got 4 seats, it can really hold 3 people.
Okay.
And so, it was just a couple buddies, and we're going places. When I moved back here, I ended up buying into a share of a Beech Baron, which is a 6-seat twin-engine plane.
Okay.
And luckily, about the time I moved back, all of my high school buddies kind of moved back without talking to each other. We all ended up back here. And we were all still single and, in our 30s at that point, and so had some spare money, and man, we flew everywhere. It was great.
That was fun.
A lot of adventures, yeah.
Yeah. So as an engineer, you've had a career there still, and maybe still, I don't know. What's your career been like as an engineer?
So I went into commercial construction coming out of school.
Okay.
I was working for a company called Beers Construction in Atlanta, Georgia. They were a 100-year-old company. They built the World Congress Center, the Georgia Dome. I mean, they basically built Atlanta. It was a great company. They opened an aviation division while I was in it, and I figured that kind of matched my 2 interests. Ended up going to Miami, built the Eastern U cargo handling facility. It's a $75 million complex, and that's where I was for September 11th.
Okay.
And that kind of, it makes you think about, hey, I really need to sign up, right? And so I got asked to be on a project in New York City after that. I had a month and a half back in Atlanta to prep for the job in New York City, and I was actually talking to the Air Force at that time. I said, hey, if I'm in by this date, I'm with you guys. If not, I've already made the commitment to the company. And unfortunately, they got back to me 2 weeks after I had already moved to New York. I said, all right, I'll call you back after I'm done. But it was great just merging the aviation and the construction. When I moved back I ended up moving back to the DC area after New York and got into commercial real estate development. And it's kind of fun because I have some buildings on the skyline around town. And when I drive my kids past them, I say, that's one of Papa's buildings.
Wow, now so you just added something else to this list I didn't know. So an airline pilot, an engineer, the commercial real estate, and you're a veteran yourself. You served in the U.S. Army, but you joined later than the average recruit. Tell me when you enlisted and why.
Yeah, so when I moved back from the New York area, I was 30, and I did call the Air Force, and they didn't call me back. I just assumed I was too old at 30 years old.
Before you go on, were you in New York for 9/11?
I was in Miami for that when it actually happened. I was on the phone with my mom, and she just thought a small plane hit the Trade Center, and while we were on the phone, the plane hit the other building, which you immediately know. Yeah. So moved to New York. I tried to work in the hole because I was in construction. But insurance and union wise, New York's a whole. It's a whole different animal up there. When I came back, I thought I was too old. Like I said, I couldn't get in touch with anybody. And in the meantime, I had found out there was a buddy of mine from high school. We called him Spider in high school. He was 6'2", and maybe 110 pounds soaking wet, right? But all heart. And I was friends with him in high school. We played lacrosse together. He was left side of the crease. I was right side of the crease. He was our nose guard on football. We were both also in the band. He played trumpet. I played sax. I lost touch with him after high school. He was a year above me. But then found out he became a Navy SEAL. And I mean, you see the pictures of him after he did that, and the guy was a beast. I mean, awesome. Found out he got shot down in a helicopter over in Afghanistan. And that's when I actually was with my wife. We were at a party on Memorial Day, and it was just, I was talking to a guy, and I said, I wish I could have joined. And he said, would you still do it? I said, yeah. He goes, does it have to be Air Force? I said, no. I just need to help. And he dialed 1-800-GO-GUARD and handed me the phone. And I was talking to the recruiter, and 2 weeks later I was in his, in the recruiting station, and 2 months later I was at MEPS, and then I was 36 years old, shipping off to basic training down at Fort Benning, now Fort Moore. Wow. So everybody called me Grandpa at basic training. But
is there an age cap for enlisting?
There is, yeah. I mean, it was, luckily or unluckily, it was during the surge in Iraq, so, they raised the age cap at that point. Okay. And so I was able to get in, right? Like a couple years later, I wouldn't have been able to get in at that age. Okay. And so, and then getting through that, you can enlist older than you can be an officer, and luckily, Officer Candidate School I was able to get through before I hit the age there. And then I served in the Maryland National Guard for years. I deployed to Baltimore during the riots to help out, help out at home. That's the great thing about the Guard. They have that dual mission. Helped out in a couple snowstorms when we got called up for those as well. And then luckily got the honor of being put in command, and I was in command for 2 years, and that's when we got the notice we're going to Afghanistan. Wow. And so I got to be a commander in Afghanistan. So I'm pretty proud of that.
Wow, I bet. So what was your rank?
I was a captain then. I just moved over to the Army Reserves, and now I'm a major. I just picked up major.
Nice. Congratulations.
So I've been in now, 14 years, I guess.
Wow, what a life you've had. So how do you juggle all of this as a pilot, the commander of the post, a family? You have a family too. How do you handle all that? Because pilots are away for a while. Do you have somebody there who can take over for you when you're not there?
I mean, we're building that now at the post. At first it was just me and another guy, and now we have a kind of a small community. It's been over a year, and so for example, like last night, I just found out I was able to pick up a trip, and if you pick up an extra trip, you make more money. And I'm going away this weekend.
Okay, where you going?
Yeah, I'm going to Athens. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. However, but we have all these things going on at the post this weekend, right? And luckily, Trey, who's our new junior vice commander, she's running the event on Friday. My wife, who's joined the auxiliary, she's helping out with that.
Nice.
She's actually I was going to be bartending this Saturday. She should be bartending this Saturday. So anybody that comes in, say hi to my wife. And then on Sunday, they've got a small team already together to be providing the brunch for the Wounded Warriors. I'm really upset I'm missing all of those, but especially the Wounded Warrior breakfast.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds like a lot going on. You also have two youth programs I wanted to talk a little bit about, Patriots Pen and Voice Democracy. Tell us a little bit about them.
Okay.
And who participates.
Yeah, so that's open to kids of the age that the programs are for. So Patriots Pen is more geared towards a junior high school, and every year the national organization comes out with a theme. And if you're a Patriots Pen participant, you see the theme and you write an essay, of the length they tell you to write, about the theme, and submit it to your local post. And then after that, it's a contest, right? Same thing for Voice of Democracy, although that's for the high school students. It's a different theme. And they record themselves giving a speech, right? So, you start off younger writing, and then you write and you speak. And I'm really proud of our two, who, we had the local competition at our post, then they go up to the regional level. Both of our people won there. We have Matali Chopra was the Patriots Pen Award winner, and Sophia Rosen was our Voice of Democracy. They both won at the regional level. So that's with like 8 or 9 other posts in the area. So they go up to and compete at the state level.
Nice.
Sophia got an award, but she didn't win at state level, so that's as high as she went. But Matali won at the state level, went up to the national level, and then she actually won at the national level.
Awesome.
So yeah.
That is awesome.
It's really cool.
We only have a little bit of time left. What do you see for the future for the Post?
Yeah, I mean, it's building the membership, right? It's anything we as veterans want that post to be, and that's the kind of the message I want to get out to the veterans in the area is like, come help make this what you want it to be. It's not your grandfather's VFW, although they're all on the wall there, right? Like, and so, you gotta always lend an eye to the past and respect to the past, but it's now our post and it's our time, and we create it like how we want it, right? So I don't want it to just be like this dank watering hole, although I do want it open all the time, because we have some guys, and every once in a while they'll talk about their experience in Vietnam, and they just want to be away from the world. Yeah. And I want that place to be there for them. But for the rest of them, I want it to be the 5Ks and the camaraderie and all the other things, and teaming up with groups like Irreverent Warriors that do these things called Silky Hiking. It's just dumb fun, great things for veterans to do. Teaming up with the police department, giving back to the police department and the local first responders to thank them, right? They're providing the mission on the home front, right? And so,
a true place for the community.
Yes, absolutely.
Richard, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for being on Solutions, and thank you for all the great work you're doing to support veterans in the area and the community as well. It's great stuff. Thank you. I'd like to thank my guest, Richard Fenati, Commander of VFW Post 2562, for being my guest on this episode of Solutions. If you'd like more information about VFW Post 2562, you can visit their website at vfw2562.org, or you can call them at 301-933-1588. I'm Cheryl Hawkins. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time for more Solutions.